Hello and welcome to Culture City TV, the YouTube channel bringing you the best culture from Liverpool and beyond. Today we're joined by Nasher from Frankie Goes Hollywood. You know, mate, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us why you're back down in Liverpool?
I'm here at the moment promoting an autobiography called Nasher Says Relax, which is about all my time from 6 weeks old, being adopted at 6 weeks old on Scotty Road, to 8 seconds of relax and a Frankie Say t-shirt in the Olympics. So it's kind of nearly 50 years.
Is it?
Yeah.
Now that you're living down in London, do you get to visit Liverpool much?
Yeah, loads. My daughter's at university, went to university here. Well, I kind of made her go to university here because I knew she'd love it. And yeah, I should work for Merseyside Tourism because I sing the praises of Liverpool at every opportunity. It's not the city I left. You know, in 1983, this city was under Thatcher's boot, militant, not the friend of anyone outside of Liverpool. And you know, the boot was put in, but at the same time, we ruled the music charts. Frankie, Dead or Alive, Echo and the Bunnymen, The Lotus Eaters, blah 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 blah. Pete Wiley, better say him or he'll stab me. Football teams winning everything. So even though the city was getting battered, we were going down singing.
And before you joined Frankie Goes Hollywood, were you in any other bands before?
Yeah, there was a couple of bands, but no, nothing that was as serious as that. I was in a band called Sons in Egypt, and the place where we used to rehearse was an old police bridewell, and there's 6 cells in there, and each of the bands used to rehearse in the cells, and you'd get a lot of people swapping cells, you know. Yeah. The bass player in cell 2 would be going for a burst and be going like that's better than what I'm playing. Hey lads, you need a bass player? Yeah, actually our bass player doesn't like what we're playing. Yeah, send him down to cell 2 and I'll come up here. So you had this kind of incestuous little scene going down at the Bridewell, and that's how Frankie Goes Hollywood grew up out of that. I'd been in a band with Ped and Holly. Ped left, started playing with Mark O'Toole. Holly left and went and joined them. And they got Mark's brother Jed in, and Paul Rutherford. Then Jed left and I joined.
Can you tell us a bit more about your experiences being in the band?
Oh, because there's too many brilliant experiences, you know. Especially coming from the city and growing up and seeing people screaming and jumping on the tops of cars with the Beatles inside, and you know, everybody aspires to be a pop star or a footballer or an astronaut or whatever you want to be, but you know, you're more than likely going to be working in Tesco's or working for the council like I was, and those things are dreams that are way beyond your reality to a certain extent, but to experience it, and when it happens to you, I think if it happened to anybody in this room, you'd be surprised how well you would take it in your stride. I mean, also a lot, you know, down to the fact that you're from Liverpool and we're not impressed, are we? Yeah, as a city, you know, we don't. What? You sold how many million records? Yeah. So, do you know what I mean? We are like that, and the city, you keep your feet on the ground, and that was what, you know, we all try and be normal people, and the success changes other people more than it changes you, but an amazing experience. I'd describe it as going to a party in 1984 and coming home 3 years later, which is everywhere you go, someone wants to take you out, take you to a club, take you to a boss restaurant, buy you a bevy. What's not to like about that? Did
you never imagine it like becoming that famous, like so many people?
No, when you sign a contract on a piece of paper, I said in the book, you're arguing, we knew it was a terrible deal, but you're arguing about percentages or nothing. With hindsight, you'd be sitting in your negotiations going, we're going to sell 2 million albums, we want more money, but at the time you don't realise that, do you? So it's the lottery.
What have you done musically since Frankie Goes Hollywood split?
Had a couple of me and Peter Gill and Mark O'Toole from Frankie teamed up with a guy called Grant Bolt, and we were trying to get a deal, and that fizzled out. And then me and Grant Bolt carried on writing together and managed to get a deal with a record label called Swan Yard, which was like, you know, the TV show Absolutely Fabulous. It was like that, but in the music industry. It's just a joke. But we managed to record some stuff, but never got to release it. And then after that kind of fell apart. I started doing my own stuff. Released 3 solo albums, 4th one's in the can, ready to go next year, but everything kind of got put on hold to do the book, really.
Yeah.
But I'm out there, I'm just a click away.
When did your passion for music start? Do you reckon it was from like an early age?
Well, my dad was into music, well, both my parents were into music, but my dad was in, my mum was like into Eddie Fisher and Patsy Cline and stuff like that. I don't know what it is with Scouse women of that time, but they all into like a little bit of Billy Joe Spears and that country thing, but my dad was seriously into his jazz music. So I wouldn't say I grew up in a musical house where we're all sitting around the piano singing Leaving a Liverpool, but I knew, and you know, you had to earn the right to use the stereogram, which it was then. It was like this huge coffin with 2 speakers in it. So the first records I played when I didn't have my own was stuff that I liked of my dad's, like Ella Fitzgerald and the Beach Boys and some of the more commercial stuff. And then my dad bought me the Beatles 66, 70, which was a compilation album, and also bought me Ziggy Stardust, and that kind of like, I went from wanting to be George Harrison to wanting to be Mick Ronson in about 48 hours. And it's interesting, writing a book and people who are my age obviously and reading it, how that David Bowie album and David Bowie at that early 70s was a signpost that we all passed on our road growing up. You know, he was such a massive influence. And yeah, you know, then you go to school and start swapping albums with kids who've got older brothers who've gone like, have you read Led Zeppelin? No, what are they like? Yeah, borrowed that, and you're lending him the Damned album. So he's hearing stuff that he's never heard before, and you're hearing that stuff, and it's something that I think has really gone from younger people today, that sharing the music. People will send each other links to stuff, and you know, maybe Bluetooth from one phone to another, but music listening these days is a much more personal experience, unless you're in a club or listening to a band. Well, I don't know. Is that right? Am I right? So do you all hang out in someone's house and listen to music? No.
Not very often.
Which is when I was 14, 15, 16. That's what we would always do. We'd always go to someone's house and be in the front room or the parlour if you were posh, and you'd be listening to music, and that's how you would learn about it, because there was no, you know, there was no independent radios, there was no MTV. It was mainstream pop music. Top of the Pops was our church every Thursday night. We'd be, you know, with your cassette recorder, trying to record it off the telly. And then my sister would be like trying to record Johnny Osmond and all that. I'd just be shouting over it.
The Power of Love just came out again, like a cover for the John Lewis Advert. What do you reckon of that cover, or do you like it, or you know, what's your favourite cover of? No,
I think it's a great version. Yeah, it's a decent interpretation of it, and I think it really fitted the bill for what John Lewis have done in recent years with getting a classic song, like it was Ellie Goulding did the Elton John thing, so it did kind of lend itself towards that, and it is good for a 30-second stroke, 45-second commercial. But I only listened to the full version of it about a week ago, and yeah, it's a buzz just to be back in people's consciousness, and also, you know, youngsters are hearing it for the first time and going, oh, I love the Snowman song, and the mums and dads are going, ah, that's rubbish, listen to this, let me find me vinyl, and playing the original, and I think the original was skirted about the top of the top 40, so that's a major, but for it to be there proves that people must be downloading it and liking it. And I think, although Two Tribes and Relax were the biggest hits, I think The Power of Love will be the one that people will still maybe playing in 30 years time, you know, because it had a bit more of a mass appeal, I think. It was one that kids could like because they like Frankie, and their mums and dads could like it as well because it was like Christmassy.
So any future plans now?
Of I'm just about finishing an album with a guy called Dave Tyrrell, who's from Liverpool, who's moved down to do this record. So I produced his album. The project's called Ground Pilots, which is really good. Hopefully get another album out next year. Got a gig on the 26th of January at the Zanzibar to raise money for MenCap Liverpool. That's a secondary reason for me. It was purely selfish because I wanted to get me, Pete Wiley, Ian McNabb and Ian Prowse all on a stage together. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do that night. Brilliant. So that should be fun. It'll probably be about 3 songs and about 2 hours of Wiley slagging all of us off. Knowing him.
Brilliant. Thanks for joining us anyway.
No, thanks.
It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Feels like fire. I'm so in love with you. Dreams are like angels. They keep